Hey everyone, welcome to Between Two Sites. I'm Aylon Herbet, the guy sitting in the main seat of the ever-rotating hosting chair this week. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Kenny. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, man. I'm good. This is a pretty exciting week. There was a lot of cool stuff that actually happened just this weekend. We had the Video Game Awards and the PlayStation Experience, which was Sony celebrating 20 years of PlayStation, which is quite cool and makes me feel pretty old because I was there. I was already a teenager at the start of that. What are you gonna do? But yeah, no. So it was a really cool, yeah, cool, exciting time. Kenny, what did you think of the Video Game Awards?
Um, it's interesting. So, first of all, I want to say it's the Game Awards, renamed Game Awards, was a lot better than previous years. We didn't have a comedian host who just yeah
Mocked
wasn't
gamers.
pretty much and
Last
interrupted.
year was terrible. Yeah, Joel McHale last year was terrible.
And he's funny in other things. I think what bothered me most that outside of like just the bad jokes was he interrupted developers when they were talking about the game to make a
Mm,
joke, and
mm,
that really bothered me. In terms of like all the Spike Awards from the years past, this has been the best one. So it does
yeah.
have that going for it. Um, I didn't like. I know that the Video Game Awards are a little different because it's an interactive medium, and so they want to have you want to have fun, and they're going to be you know uh, promoting new games and whatnot. So I do understand that, but I really would have liked more focus on the actual awards, and which I thought was going to happen because they started off kind of okay. They showed a couple of trailers which were fine, but then they started to give awards, and that was cool. But then at a certain point, like some of the awards, it was kind of like we don't really care about this award. We're just kind of gonna give it to you, you know, out in the audience. Like for instance, the Developer of the Year award went to Nintendo, and Reggie, they kind of just had him on the side and gave him the award. They didn't, they didn't. I don't even think they announced it. Did they announce it? Like they,
No, because yeah, a lot of them it wasn't like the usual. Here are the nominees and the award goes to. A lot of them were just kind of like, and the winner is this here.
yeah,
Like
and
he was just standing next to the guy who's going to win. He's just like, here, just take it. It's heavy. I don't want to hold it anymore. Take it.
yeah, it seemed like they didn't, he was handing the I guess award or trophy or whatever the thing is with the wings, and they're handing them to them, and it was kind of like shoving it in his face and like, all right, here you go, give us a 5-second blurb and then go away so we can show another trailer. And I know
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily like that. I don't, in terms of their intentions, because
Mm,
uh, for instance, like in order to have this happen, there was different people from Nintendo, Sony, Konami, a bunch of different companies that kind of helped back this award show. So
mm.
it wasn't like how do you pronounce the host's name?
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley,
It's just Jeff. Yeah, just Jeff.
just Jeff. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so like
That's
he's
that's the one way you spell Jeff, apparently.
oh really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Um,
Yep.
you know,
Live and learn, huh?
yeah, definitely. He's yeah. So I'm pretty sure he didn't want it to be that way, but I guess like time restraints because it was live and stuff like that kind of made it so they had to speed up and go through because there was a long listing of awards, and they were trying to give them all out, but a lot of them didn't get announced. They were just kind of like, oh yeah, did you know that the best score went to Destiny? Because we're not going to tell you. You just go on the website and you'll figure it out. you know
Yeah, that's the thing. There were a lot of things where it's like, well, yeah, it's basically due to time restraints and all that. It was sort of they had to quickly get through some of the awards so they could get to them because it was much more about them. The marketing took emphasis and priority over the actual awards. Yeah, a little bit of a shame.
it is, and because I mean we want it to be taken seriously. One of the things that I tweeted out was, do the developers really care about the awards? Because next year we might get a totally different type of show with a totally different you know, uh, trophy to win or whatever. Do they really care? I mean, and this is not to say that not everything was, everything was bad. There was the Lifetime or Icon Award. Uh,
That was great. That
that
was a
was
really good moment.
yes, that was awesome with the original creators of Sierra. Um,
Yeah, Roberta Williams and I keep forgetting what the husband's name
It's
is.
a Ken, I believe.
Ken. Yeah, so Ken and Roberta Williams.
Yeah, and all the things that they've done, with Dragon Quest and just adventure games in general over the years, um,
Mm,
it you know pretty much started a lot of you know genre staples when they were starting off. Um,
mm.
so it was really great that they were able to get it, and there was a little bit of a brief montage, or not montage, but a kind of like a
A little
documentary.
documentary. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was really great. I
that,
loved
that
that.
was
That
extremely
whole part
tasteful.
was great. The whole thing was really good until the part, and it was King's Quest, not Dragon Quest, by the way.
Oh,
But the
sorry,
whole
sorry.
thing was it's not me that's going to get mad about that, but it was the whole part until when they handed it off to the new developers who were working on the new King's Quest, which did look kind of cool. Um, the part where it got awkward to me, and it might just be because of my Jewish family background, when she put the hat on him. She
Oh,
gave him this
really?
hat, like the King's Quest hat.
Right.
And then when he went to speak, he went to the mic, and they immediately took the hat off and gave it to the other developer. And to me, I was just like, oh, man, if that was my mom, she'd be so insulted right now.
Well, yeah, and
You don't take the hat off, man.
did you hear the
Like,
boos?
yeah, exactly. Like some people were booing, and damn right they were booing. Like that's just, it was actually a little disrespectful. Like here, she gave you this, she even made like a little ceremony out of it. You bowed, she, presented the hat to you and put on your head. Like you don't take that off. You showed some respect and looked stupid for a few minutes on stage.
Yeah, I kind of get it, especially if they didn't rehearse any of that beforehand. I totally understand. Like, in the moment, he wasn't thinking, and just kind of like, here's the hat, and so
Mm.
the other developer had to kind of like save him. But yeah, I was kind of like, ooh, why would you take it off?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just kind of like that's like imagine how Roberta Williams, who presented that to her, imagine how she felt.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very nice gesture, and he just kind of literally took it off and
Yeah,
hands it off to someone else.
that was very very interesting. But outside of that, I think it was definitely one of the highlights of the show. Um, and I was really upset though with a lot of the awards. Because granted, so for instance, here's one, like Total Biscuit won for the trending gamer, which I thought was great, and his acceptance speech was really great, you know, and I thought it was perfect, and but then at the same time you have like, you know, developer of the year, or really anything from Nintendo except for like Mario Kart. They it wasn't given to them like
Mm.
like normally, or they didn't have a time to go up and talk, or stand on stage. A bunch of other games
Yeah.
that were like that, or
To,
other
to,
people.
to, to be fair, after I saw Reggie's acceptance speech for Mario Kart, thank God they didn't let him do any more of those. That was terrible. Seriously, that was so something I tweeted was that was the most corporate acceptance speech I've ever seen. I don't even know if he was happy that he won.
Yeah, it
I
seemed like he was very
I think I saw
surprised.
I think I saw no, he didn't seem surprised. He just Nintendo paid for most of this thing. I'm pretty sure he knew when long before. I'm not saying he paid to win. I'm just saying he knew ahead of time that he was going. Because keep in mind, like they would have had such a strict schedule with this thing, with the timing, and all that. They wouldn't have had time to let Reggie be surprised by this stuff because he needed to be in places.
Right,
So
right.
he knew ahead of time. By the way, you're going to win this one. You need to be on stage for the acceptance.
Yeah,
But because his schedule just would have been too tight to allow it to be a surprise, is my assumption. But like he didn't like. I think I saw him smirk once. Like he didn't like smile. He didn't really seem. He just like walked on. He's like sort of nonchalantly high fiving people as he walks through the crowd. He just like mustered the bare minimum of energy he could for that acceptance speech. Granted, he was probably very busy and tired that night, but still.
yeah. I was gonna say
get
he did look a
get
little
someone
tired.
else to accept the award then. Like if he is busy and tired, get someone else.
Well, it would have made sense to have them, someone else go, because it seemed like he was the only person on hand from Nintendo, so he had
Yeah,
to be at like
exactly.
9 places at once. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Like he was just the face. It's like, just get one of the developers who actually worked on Oh, you probably can't do that because their English maybe isn't so great, but I don't know, someone
I mean,
else.
it would have been cool for a translator to go up with them, and I mean, just the respect of getting the award on stage instead of like out in the crowd, kind of like jam it into your side and tell you to
Yeah,
beat it.
yeah, but again, like I mean, again, the time restraint. Getting a translator takes more time. And what was that award? Was what? Wasn't it like best sports game?
It
The
was
hell
best sports
cares?
slash racing. I mean, some people care. Some
So
people
yeah,
care.
you know, I know people care, but not enough that they're going to give translator time. Translator time is valuable time. And
Well, no.
acceptance speech.
Well, I mean,
You don't give translator time for any little old award, and certainly not sports and racing.
okay. So I think so. I mean, I'm thinking like,
Shooter maybe will get translator time.
nah, not best shooter. Um, I mean,
Shooters are pretty good in sports games.
they are. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe as a
Granted,
collective,
sales figures might actually tell a different story.
right?
But
Um,
for
well,
general hype.
I was gonna say like, I mean, I'm thinking of like the bigger awards, not necessarily like the most anticipated game or the best mobile game. Not to knock on mobile games, but I'm just saying like I can understand something for the developer of the year, the game of the year, the best action, something where you would think they would actually get on stage
Yeah.
and talk about it.
Yeah, developer of the year, I agree. That should have been a stage one. Like that should be a big deal.
Yeah, like
Should be a
definitely.
big award. Yeah,
So
100% agree with you on that.
So it was. I think the award show was interesting. I'm looking forward to next year, because it seemed like some of the criticisms that came years ago are finally being addressed. Um,
Mm,
and I think it's the fact that Spike TV isn't involved anymore, uh, allows for that sort of thing. Um,
mm,
I just hope that they kind of. I know that in order for them to back Jeff, I know they probably were like, we gotta show ads. It's just not gonna work.
yeah, yeah.
But I think just do it in a more timely way, where it's like almost like a commercial break is the ad, and then come
Mm,
back to the awards. And I want to see more of the documentary stuff next year. Uh,
mm, mm.
that would be really cool.
So I agree. I want to see more of that kind of stuff. I mean, look, for the most part, I think the way they did the ads were like the commercial breaks. Like they did have that, where some commercial breaks were effectively just video game ads. But then they also had this is the reveal ad, which is a bigger deal. Those showed not as commercial breaks per thing. I think I agree with you. Commercial breaks is where they show the ads, and those should include the reveal ads and those sort of things. The bigger blocks for showing off a game should be demos, not reveal trailers.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, honestly, if you're playing a drinking game, by hearing the words world premiere, I think you'll be sloshed by the end of it,
Yeah,
because it was just every few seconds. But I
you
think
might
that
need to be hospitalized
ex-
by the
ex-
end of that shit.
exactly, like I think what they could do, like, because what they were doing, it seemed like during the commercial breaks it was ads for games that are already out, and then they had the world premieres. What they should do, I think, is have the world premieres as the commercial breaks, and
Yeah,
then instead of doing concerts, do a demo. Like
yeah,
like our music award, like the music awards, they have like a concert, and then they have all the awards given. They should do, instead of having a concert with live bands and whatnot, just do a demo of a new game. Like that would be cool.
yeah, yeah. So I would like that, and the thing I would absolutely love. I don't think it would ever be possible. It would be very difficult to do, but the thing I would absolutely love them to do. So you know how like the Oscars, they have skits in between, right? Almost
Oh
like
yeah.
Saturday Night Live kind of skits. I would love to see some developers come together and do skits putting various video game characters together, like characters who normally would never be together.
Well, they kind
Show,
of.
like show me a skit with Kratos, Nathan Drake, and Master Chief hanging at a bar.
That would be awesome, and they kind of did something like that when Samuel L. Jackson was hosting, and he would actually be a character in the games. I think it was the year that
Oh
Dishonored
yeah.
came out. I think
Mm-mm-mm.
Dishonored was in the running,
Yeah.
and so he was in Dishonored. He was in Minecraft and a couple other games, and that was hilarious. Like that
Yeah,
was
so
that was
stuff like
awesome.
that. Yeah, I think stuff like that would be great. I would love to see more of that. I think that's just very cool. And that's very much like an award show. The concert stuff is tricky because it's sort of, again, it's cool. They need to fill time. They need to entertain the audience. It's there, but for the most part, it's like, oh, I don't know this music that great. Like I don't care that it's not. You know, that's
It's
the part where I kind of turn the volume down for a bit and just start looking at my computer for a little while.
Well, it's interesting. What's really interesting is that a lot of the acts they're in a niche kind of category, and games aren't niche anymore. You know what I mean? Like people, you know, I had a person on Twitter who was talking about how his mom was super excited for King's Quest and actually, you know, called him to let him to tell him like, hey, they're showing the new King's Quest. So like, it's not a niche thing
That's
anymore.
awesome.
Yeah, like a lot of people are
That's so cool.
a lot of people are looking at this now. So with the bands being niche though, it's kind of like you're going in the opposite direction. Um, you should bring bands that are more known by everyone, kind of like how the games are now. Um, but even then, like I would less concert, like really less concert and more. I mean, because I'm pretty sure the audience would be cool if, excuse me, like for instance, we saw the at the other show that we're going to talk about a little bit later. We saw the Nathan Drake, or sorry, the Uncharted demo, and I would have been if I was in the audience, I would have been that would have been cool to see along with some skits. Like I didn't really need you know a band or a sort of a
Yeah.
concert type of thing.
Yeah, but end of the day, you were never gonna see that there because Sony wanted to save that for their event.
Oh right, right. I'm just saying like
That,
as an
yeah.
example.
But with that, you know what the thing is? The thing that I think they can cut that stuff out is the whole event, the whole award show was easily 1.5 hours way too long.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like it was way too long. They need to cut that down by 1 to 2 hours. So there, cut out the concerts and reduce the time that way.
Well, yeah, and which is funny when they're giving away these awards and they're not even it's like behind the scenes type of thing, but then you have like 3 hours worth of an event. Like when they came on and the Double Fine game, Elijah Wood was talking and they were like we're only halfway through, and I was like wait
Hmm.
halfway through.
Yeah, I like that that whole thing was actually a meta joke for Broken Age itself,
Right.
for the game itself, because it's only halfway through. It's got part two coming out next year, and some things are worth the wait, and blah blah blah. So it was a cute little meta joke. We was talking about both the award show and itself.
Yeah, but it kind of like killed the joke when everyone realized that we had another we
We have
had
to go through this all over.
yeah.
We've got this whole time period again. It's double this.
Now, what did you think about? Because I know some people weren't pleased with some of the categories, not in terms of like who was nominated, but the actual category itself. So we have like esports team of the year, best fan creation, best remastered, which actually I think should have been in there. We have all these, trending gamer. We have all these categories that we didn't have before. What are your take on some of those?
I think it's fine. Like it's our industry is more interesting than like other. Like I mean, you don't have in the movie like the Oscars. They don't give awards for like best YouTube video. Best
Right.
fan made YouTube video, and that's the way the world's kind of heading. So why can't like as a game industry, why can't we celebrate best fan made something? Um, your best trending gamer again. I think those voices have become important in our industry. So why not celebrate some of them a little bit and acknowledge them and give them again? Just I don't see the issue with it, other than the fact that it might make the show just way too long.
Right. Right.
But the actual categories themselves, nah, it's fine. I mean, look, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge award guy, award show kind of guy, so like I could care less, really. Just whatever you want to give awards for, go for it. Yeah, there's I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, some awards are always going to have categories that just not everyone's going to like, and what are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was cool and interesting. I wish there was more talk behind it in terms of I,
Explaining what they are.
yeah, like a little bit of
Yeah.
a little because some of these people I've never heard of before,
Mm.
and I'm pretty we're both pretty big in gaming, and we try to. I mean, one of the cool things about gaming in and of itself is like you're always learning something new. But when it's award time, I'm thinking like either I'm gonna learn something because you showed a cool documentary, or you're gonna
Mm.
explain a little bit about these people's backgrounds and whatnot. I think more time, given for that sort of thing would be awesome because then you get
Yeah.
to you're shining new light on something outside of just because what's the point of giving, best esports team award, but you never show them on stage or you never talk about the games that they
Who
were
they
playing
are?
and yeah, their makeup or anything like that.
Mm.
You know, like that's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it seems like a waste.
Again, it's let's learn from all the awards shows that have come before. The Oscars normally, when they nominate like Best Actor or whatever, they normally show a short clip from the movie they're being nominated for that demonstrates their acting in that movie, and it's normally like just like 10 to 15 seconds of a clip. But let's do that then. You know, like if we're doing that, let's show a little clip of a Trender Gamer's YouTube video just talking about something, one of his popular videos of that he was talking about something. You know, if it's E plus team, show a few seconds of just them, just a little 15-second clip from one of their games where they just got a lot of kills and did really well. You know, demonstrate. Yeah, I agree. Like just show a little bit of who they are.
Yeah, I mean, because they did it, and you know, it was kind of like here and there, because they did it for the trending gamer. They showed a little bit of PewDiePie and Total Biscuit and you know the other guys, and then they also did it for the, I want to say the best, I think it was voice acting, the best, oh the best,
Oh yeah,
yeah, the best voice acting, where the guy from South Park won, which was I thought was awesome because he
yeah.
played like 1,000 voices.
Trey Parker.
Yeah, you know, so they didn't do it
His
in
speech was
those.
great.
Yeah, like I didn't, because I really didn't. I expected him to win only because of so many roles that he was playing. But then when you had
Mm.
like a lot of good people, he was going up against. You know the person who played Clementine and you know the Shadow of Mordor. I forget their names. I don't have them listed.
So you got Troy Baker is I
Yeah,
don't know
Troy
the one who
Baker.
played Clem time. I don't know her name. The thing again, the thing I guess keep in mind like Troy Baker is a fantastic voice actor, but all the games that he voice acted in this year, none of them were that great.
Oh,
And
so
this
you
isn't
didn't
his
think?
fault. Like his voice acting was perfectly fine then, but none of them gave him much of an up. Like compare that to say Bioshock Infinite or The Last of Us, where he was able to use his voice acting talent to a much more significant degree because the writing was so good.
So you didn't think? I haven't played it, but you didn't think that the South Park game was any good?
No, I haven't played that out, but no, I'm not talking about the winner. I'm talking about Troy Baker, not Trey Parker.
Oh,
Just
right,
really easy mistake to make considering their names.
right. Sorry.
Yeah. So no, so I'm talking about the other. Troy Baker's the guy from Shadow of Mordor,
Right. Okay,
and
okay.
a lot of and Call of Duty, and and Far Cry 4, and like he's been in a lot of games this year, and he's a phenomenal talent. But none of the games this year really allowed him to demonstrate that talent to the extent that he deserved to win an award for it.
Really? Because Middle Earth,
Last year, different story.
Shadow of Mordor, he seemed like he did a really good job.
He did, but it was, but there was nothing actually that heavily dramatic in there that, like, you know, he did a good job with. He did a great job with what he had, but
Right,
the
right.
material he had to work with wasn't that great. So, I would never like, you know, you're not going to win. It's kind of like, no matter how good an actor you are, if it's a bad movie or a mediocre movie, you're probably not going to win an award for your acting because you don't have the material to demonstrate your acting.
Right. It's kind of like how they do genres. Like a drama is going to get way more, you know, votes as opposed to like a horror film. Even if your acting was awesome, it's
Yeah,
just not
exactly.
gonna. It's not gonna. I see what you're saying.
Has anyone ever won the award for best actor from a horror movie?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and there's been some amazing actors in horror movies, but they just never they would never have the material to demonstrate their acting to the level of award worthiness. Like Troy Baker, he won best voice actor last year for The Last of Us. 100%, he's amazing,
Yeah,
but
he is.
he needs the right games to show that. That's the thing. Like Middle Earth was great, and Middle Earth. I was actually disappointed that Middle Earth didn't win Game of the Year. Although granted, I haven't played Dragon Age, so I can't speak to that. But for me, from the games I've played this year, was Shadow of Mordor, which actually brings me back to something I kind of want to get onto is these awards to me kind of demonstrate just how mediocre a year this was for games.
Really?
I thought this was a super bum year for games. Like, you know, the last few years, it's always been like such massive highs. There's been so many good games. There's been, you know, we've had a Bioshock game, we've had a Mass Effect game, we've had, you know, like just so many massive big series. We had year after year after year. Every year was just getting better and better. I thought this year was so mediocre.
I don't know. Well, I guess it. Well, I
Think
don't
about it.
know.
Name three games this year that stood out to you as something amazing, truly amazing.
Before I answer that, the thing is, I just want to clarify. So, are we only talking like really big games, because I played this War of Mine, and I thought that was awesome. You,
Yeah, I'm playing that as well, and I'm really enjoying that.
you know what I mean? So I'm
Uh,
like, is it because what I've seen this year? We did have some big games, and most of them were sequels that kind of, like for instance, you had Assassin's Creed Unity, which was just it shouldn't get any type of award because it was so bad. But
mm,
in terms of bugs and everything, but it was like it was a sequel, so I was kind of like, whatever. But then you have games that are like this War of Mine that kind of come out of left field that are very small in terms of not being AAA and marketed to death,
mm.
um, but still offer up something that's really good. And so
Yeah,
to me, it was like it wasn't such a bad year for games. It was just a year for smaller games to kind of shine a little bit more. Uh,
see, I mean, like indie games, I think always have their little place, and that
wait,
no,
their
and they do,
their
and
little plays.
no, they do. And the thing is, and like anyway, things like I mean, every year we've had really good indie games. Like last year, wait, was it last year where it was like Gone Home,
Yeah,
yeah, and that this year we had Shovel Knight, we had I think this War of Mine is actually one of my best surprises for this year because it just came out of nowhere. I'd never heard anything about it. And suddenly I just heard someone talking about it on a podcast I was listening to. So I went and got it, and I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's depressing as hell, but
oh yeah,
really, but it's a really good. For anyone who doesn't know, it is sort of a survival simulator game where you play as just human refugees in and you're just trying to survive. So, and it's by scavenging for supplies, and it's about making a lot of tough choices to keep people happy and not depressed, and fed and warm, and all these things. It's really really cool. And you should definitely go check it out. It's like $20 on Steam. I think currently it's getting 10% off on Steam.
yeah.
Um,
It's all of the
but
nominees are I think are getting discounts.
yeah, yeah. But all right, so ignoring Indian, let's say yes, I'm saying the bigger games, the bigger AAA games. This
Okay,
was a bad year, man.
yeah, it was. I mean, there was still some shocking games because like I thought Wolfenstein: The New Order was really good, and I really didn't expect it to be good at all. Um,
Right.
be,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And but then again, you had a lot of remakes this year, which is why we had the remastered section. And then you had a lot of sequels, and you also had a lot of games that are just there was a lot of hype there, but they didn't meet the hype. At
Yep.
least for me,
No,
Titanfall and Destiny just they didn't
yeah.
do it.
Well, there's the thing, like, it's just been a year of that. It's been a year of all the games that you kind of expected to be really big and really good, just weren't. It's like, Destiny had massive problems. It still is. I'm actually really mad at Bungie right now because of the latest information for the patch that's coming with the DLC. I think they've made a very aggressively anti-player design decision that kind of it's forcing you to regrind all of your weapons all over again. Uh, it's just really stupid, but I'm not going to get into that. And it's funny. This actually might be the thing that will turn me off Destiny. Like I'll play through the content of the DLC. I just don't think I'm going to keep coming back the way I did before. I'll play it because I've paid for it, so I might as well check it out.
Right.
After I've gone through it, I think I'm just going to stop until the next DLC. Where as opposed to here, I've been regularly playing for this DLC. I'm not. I don't think I'm going to do that. But anyway, all right, moving back onto the topic. Yeah, like Titanfall, it was really cool for like a week or two, and then, I don't like playing competitive multiplayer games over and over again that much, unless they're games like Dodo League of Legends, apparently. And yeah, so that Destiny was just Destiny massive bummer. Uh, Assassin's Creed Unity was just a hot mess coming in, and it's
Right.
still a hot mess. Um, Halo Master Chief Edition again, like for if you're there for the single player thing, amazing thing. If you're there for the multiplayer, hot mess that is still broken. Um, which I don't even know how that is Microsoft let that happen
We
for their like
actually
golden IP.
yeah we're actually gonna need to on another cast talk about unfinished games coming out. I just
Trophy
want to throw
game,
that out
yeah,
there because
yeah,
there's a lot of that this year.
definitely, yeah. That can be a topic for next time. The next episode we'll get into that. I think it'll be a good time. Try to think what else. Yeah, I mean, just like those, Again, like for me, yeah, you did have a few really good surprises. Wolfenstein was a really cool surprise. Again, I think Shadow of Mordor is my game of the year, based on what I have played this year for AAA games. It was just it was just such a cool game. Really, really good game. And again, I've heard Dragon Age Inquisition is really good. I do want to check that out. Um, Again, looking at, but you're right. Like in the indie scene, there were some really good surprises. This War of Mine is great. I had a game. Hold
Like,
on, I cannot remember the name.
Divinity. Divinity
Yeah,
is
that
really
was the one I
good.
was thinking. Yep, Divinity Original Sin. Also, like yeah, like there was some good indie stuff. But overall, compared to like the last few years, this is a this has been a mediocre year.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's no real. I mean, last year you would think would be more mediocre because there wasn't. They were transitioning into the new consoles, and this year we're kind of,
Mm.
we're there, and
It feels like we're still transitioning.
yeah, it does. And there, I mean, there was, and it's sad because because I'm re-looking at, all of the awards and whatnot, and a lot of the games are featured in multiple categories, but I don't think because they were great. I think because there's nothing else to put in there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
that's the thing. Like,
I'm pretty
yeah.
shocked that Bayonetta 2 was in for Game of the Year. I don't think that's a bad thing, but
Mm.
you have Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age, Hearthstone, and Middle Earth. Like the ones that seem odd to me are Bayonetta 2 and Hearthstone. When we have so many monster games that are supposed to be super super great,
Mm.
and not that those games are bad, but I'm just saying like you would think Destiny would be there, or you know, I don't
No,
know,
you
Call of Duty, Titanfall,
no, you wouldn't.
one of the many Assassin's Creeds.
No, you would. No, I mean you would in the sense of traditionally those have been the games that have the kind of games that filled that space. But again, like yeah, every one of those games had massive problems with them or got old, stale really quick, and yeah, it's just yeah, it's been a disappointing year for big games.
Yeah, and
You know,
it's
there weren't that many really good ones, and the ones that you expected to be good disappointed or were just completely broken at release.
yeah, I would have to agree. I would have to
It
agree.
was a poor year, but hey, better luck next time, right? Let's hope 2015 will be. You know what? The way I see it, 2015 hopefully will be a great year for games, and if not, we have Avengers 2, and I'll
Well,
have to just take solace in that.
well, speaking of next year, we had the Sony event
Mm.
today, and well, actually, it's going on from today into tomorrow sometime,
Yep.
and they're basically talking about everything that's coming up next year, and it was a lot. There's a lot of stuff that they're showing.
Yeah.
One thing that I was really excited about was Vita. They were giving stuff to the Vita, and I don't mean like, this game is coming for the PS4 and the Vita, so if you kind of have it laying around, you might want to download it on that. No, like there were some really good games that are coming to Vita that I didn't expect, and I was like, wow, this is finally we're getting some Vita stuff. Like, it's really good. I don't know,
See,
how many people still have them, but
see, I saw that whole thing differently to you. I think.
really.
It's cool that well, I think it's cool that the game's coming to it, but like, so it's funny how you like what you said just now. You're like, they didn't say, hey, this is coming to the PS4 and the Vita, but a lot of stuff that they showed, I was like, you're right. They're not saying it's coming to the PS4 and Vita. What it actually was saying is, hey, this already came to the PS4, and now it's going to come to the Vita.
Well, I mean, we look at
Like seriously, most of the games that there was, I don't think I saw like there were maybe one or two games that were original games that were Vita only games. Most of those games are indie games or other games that we've already seen on either the PC or PlayStation 4. And it's like, well, if you didn't play them before, if you want to play them on the go somewhere else, you can now get them on the Vita.
well, I
But
mean,
they're old games. They're ports.
right. Well, it depends. Like, I'm not upset about a port. If it was a port just from PS4, then yeah, I'm like, no, no big deal. But PC games that weren't on PlayStation 4 before coming to the Vita, I think is pretty good. Or games that
It
were
is. But how many of those were there? Like most of the ones that I saw were ones that have been ported onto the PS4 already.
is Super Time Force, is that on the PS4, or is that?
I don't know. Hold on. I can Google that.
Because I remember I thought it was just on Xbox One, 360, and actually I think it was just on those two uh, platforms. Um, so I mean there was definitely some, and it was you know more than I expected, because if we look at like even the past E3.
Uh, No, so that trailer was to say that it's coming to the PS4 and the Vita.
Oh really? Okay, well never
It's the
mind
exact
then.
thing you were happy about them not saying. They said.
See, there you go. But no, I think like because we look at what happened before, and it wasn't, like E3, they didn't see anything about the
Yeah,
Vita. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, we got some Vita games that you can play on the floor, but we're only here to talk about PS4, and that's it.
yeah, yeah. No, again, you are right. It's good that they talked about the Vita. It's good that there is stuff coming to the Vita, but it's just the majority of that stuff is stuff that potentially people could have played already.
True, that's true.
Which again, nothing. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's just I didn't see any original stuff that you never could have you only would have played this year.
Right, and I honestly I don't think there's gonna be too many Vita games
Mm.
that are 100% unique to it, um, at this point. So like anything that's a good game that you didn't have handheld before, or that's not coming to the 3DS, I think is pretty good. If you still own, like I still own my Vita, mainly for review titles. A
Mm.
lot of the Japanese, imports that are coming in, or ports that are coming in, are also going to Vita. So yeah, I review them on that. But in terms of just having a Vita and wanting to play a game, these games are like, okay, I have something to play now that I can play on the
Mm.
go. Versus like, no, I'm gonna just take my 3DS.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. No, that's fine.
What did you
Again,
think
yeah,
about?
it's cool they did that. Sorry.
Oh no, what did you think about some of the announcements? I thought Uncharted 4 looked awesome.
So I haven't actually watched that whole demo yet. When the awards, because I live in the future New Zealand time, I was still actually asleep when the awards began.
Okay.
So I missed some of it. Yeah, it was like I woke. I mean, keep in mind. So it is a Sunday for me, and I woke up at 7:45, and I'd still missed a good chunk of the PlayStation Experience thing. So I was still awake pretty early for a Sunday, but I missed some of it. So I missed
Okay.
some of it. Yeah, so I did not before we started recording the podcast. I watched about 2 or 3 minutes of the demo, but then we started recording, so I had to stop. I did find it interesting. Again, I'm hoping there'll be more because like a 15. I thought like it was a 15-minute demo, which is really awesome. Like
Right.
that's I like stuff like that. Like show me a good chunk of the game. That is great. That's what No Man's Sky desperately needs to do for
Oh
me to
my
care
God.
at all about that game at this point. But we'll get to that in a second. I did find it a little weird with Uncharted that they decided that the first thing they show it is a dark gray cave.
Yeah, and like him
Couldn't have
going through
shown
the
me a place
water.
with some color?
Well, it does open out into color. I think they were trying to,
Okay, cool, cool.
yeah, they were trying to show, I guess, the change, because you go from the dark cave and it opens up into uh, a very lush environment. So much so that he can actually hide in the foliage, which I thought was really great.
Cool. Okay, yeah, cool. So I am actually looking forward to seeing the rest of that.
Okay.
But so I missed that. I missed the Bloodborne demo. So again, that's also something I want to go check out.
Oh man, the game looks good. It does
It
look
does
good.
look, yeah, yeah. From the other stuff I've seen of that game, that does look. It's funny. Like It's funny. So I have never played a Dark Souls game, but I really enjoy watching other people play it, like through Twitch or
Right.
YouTube stuff. So I am really excited about watching someone play Bloodborne. I really am. And it's a little scary that that's the world we live in right now. But I do. I am. I can't even explain why. Well, no, I can, because I don't like the games like that frustrate me to play. But I have an older brother who is 7 years older than me, so a lot of my childhood was watching him play games that were too hard for me at that age when I was a little kid. So that's part of me, so I can gain entertainment from doing that.
Oh no, I totally agree, because it is a very frustrating game, and I was actually playing Dark Souls on Xbox 360 recently, and it's one of those things where before I load it up to play, I really have to like, do I really want to play this right now? Like, I don't know if I'm in the mood.
Put myself through this.
Yeah, like I gotta get in the mood to play, and so, but Bloodborne it seems like it's gonna be difficult, but at the same time, they were showing off, I guess, a multiplayer mode, and with a kind of like a dungeon that's procedurally generated and whatnot,
Yeah.
and I thought it was really cool because it takes a little bit of the attention off. Like, it's still difficult, but the fact that someone can play with me, and I can choose how big or small the experience is. Like, I can choose if I want a bunch of people to play, just like my friends, or like a smaller community or whatever. And it's always different each time. I think that's really cool because it's something I can jump into really quickly and play. I don't have to have it. It's not extremely frustrating, but it still poses a challenge. and it kind of reminds me of a little bit of Monster Hunter in that sense. Like it's grand, you're fighting giant beasts with like really cool weapons with someone that you don't necessarily you're not tethered to the whole time, because what they show is like the main character, going through the dungeon, he's fighting monsters, and eventually he gets to like a stronger character, and another guy comes in and just smacks him with a hammer. It was awesome. And I was like, dude, where did he come from? And and so they went on to play together, and I thought that was really cool, and so I'm really looking forward to actually playing this one a little bit more.
Yeah, nice, cool. Yeah, I'm very excited about seeing what I'm very excited about watching that game.
Yeah, definitely. Um, what else? They showed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to actually. Yeah, it's almost impossible to keep track of everything they showed. But they did show a lot of stuff. But
I
going back to some No Man's Sky,
yeah,
just
that.
touch on that.
Oh my God.
Uh, more like no gameplay Sky.
Yeah, I'm really
Um,
frustrated and I tweeted to Hello Games. I was like, okay, if you guys don't show anything other than scenery, I'm really gonna lose the hype for your
yeah,
game. Uh,
yeah,
I get it. You can fly to different planets. All
yeah.
the planets.
I got that message a year ago when you showed
Yeah.
that. Like,
It.
cool, cool. The message is not like that's the thing. Like the thing I tweet is they have shown conceptually the same trailer 3 times.
Yes. And which is odd because it gets longer each time. Um, but yeah, I'm like I really want to see something, even if it's like small, like maybe like shooting, another person's ship. There was a part in the trailer that they showed today where, uh, so like the guy lands the ship on I guess like a spaceport or whatever, and then
Yeah,
there's
I wanted him to go inside.
well, the thing that excited me though was that there was multiple ships landing at the same time, and I was like, "Oh, cool! We're gonna see other players actually come out." But that never happened. He like gets back in the ship and leave, and I'm like, "Wait, wait! Something is gonna happen."
And the thing is, those probably aren't other players. Like that actually might be a little misleading.
Ah,
because
see,
because I've heard sort of interviews with the developer where they said running into another player will be exceptionally rare and a very sort of big event kind of thing. Like, well, not necessarily a big event, you might not care, but it'll be very rare running into the players because just basically because that place is just so big.
and see that the fact
Yeah,
that
so those might actually be AI. That's the thing. I know that there is like an AI in the game. There are like enemies in the game. There are enemy space pirates or whatever kind of stuff, but they don't really show any of that stuff.
yeah, like there's. I don't know what you do. There was a little bit
Yeah,
of stuff that they said about in Game Informer where, you can like mine for resources and, you know, um, like if you die, like some of the consequences and whatnot. But they didn't show what is the point. Like outside of exploration, what is the point? Is it going to be Minecraft? Is it going to be more of like a
DayZ.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like what exactly are we doing
Yep.
other than just flying around? You
Yeah,
know.
well, listen, I tweeted about it, and someone tweeted back at me and said explore, because I said like, what do we do? And the guy just said explore. So I tweeted back saying, so it's basically just a space safari.
I actually tweeted it's because someone was like, "What is the game?" and I was like, "It's basically Pokemon
Yeah.
Snap, a sequel to Pokemon Snap. That's what it is. You're just gonna be
You're right.
taking
Yeah.
pictures the whole
Yeah, that's
time."
the thing. Like, yeah, he was like explore, discover, and to me it's like, why?
Yes.
What's
Why?
the why? What is the fun there? Like that's the thing to me is it's not like what's the game, it's what's the fun. That's because that's the thing. I'm looking at that trailer. The tech is amazing, amazing technology behind that game. I hope other developers steal it, and put really good games into it, because really it is amazing technology that they're using. Um, the music is very cool. The art style's very like it has a lot going for it. Except I have no idea what about that game is meant to be fun because nothing in that trailer looks fun to me. It
No,
looks
and
very cool. It looks like I will have 10 sec. That's the thing. It looks like I will have 1.5 minutes of showing someone, look, I can fly from this planet into space into another planet. How cool is that?
I
I'm gonna
mean,
go outside and play with a ball now.
yeah. Well,
At least I actually get to do something.
yes. I mean, another thing that I'm thinking about is like for someone who doesn't have a lot of time to play, this is very daunting. Like flying around in space and not showing me any type of goal makes it way more daunting to me. The fact that he was like, getting a platinum trophy is going to take you years. Like, I don't want to just mindlessly explore for years.
I
I,
think that was a
I mean, I know it's a joke, but it's like at the same time, that's not what I'm looking for. I can watch someone play and get that same experience, via Twitch. In terms of me wanting to play though, wanting to purchase this game, what am I going to be doing that's going to make it fun? And I thought like with those, because you said those are AI, and I don't know, but when people are landing on that same place, we can go and explore together. Maybe we'll run into some pirates together. Like I was hoping to see some type of interactivity with other people or
yeah,
whatnot.
yeah, like I said, like resource gathering, combat,
Yeah,
something,
and like,
just anything at this point.
when does the
I
game come out?
I think next year at some point, but I don't know if they've said it an exact date. The other thing is that it's interesting. So what No Man's Sky has started reminding me of is Spore.
Yes, I was gonna
It's
say
starting
that.
to remind me a lot. I'm getting the same kind of vibe as Spore, where I'm looking. It's like, oh, that's such a cool like. There's really good tech in there. It's great tech, but there isn't actually a fun game inside. And again, I could be wrong. I hope to God that I'm wrong. They just aren't, and there is. They just haven't shown it yet. Now, on the bright side, part of the PlayStation experience, you said how it's going on for until tomorrow night sometime. Apparently, they are going to do like a 1 hour live stream
Well, I hope so.
of playing it sometime this weekend. So that's my hope is in there. They will show it because I mean, showing a 1 hour demo of that game is basically all I need.
Yeah,
Like,
because
show me what I'm going to do for an hour in that game, and that will tell me whether I want to be doing that or not.
yeah, because I honestly can't believe that they showed, from the Game Awards to the Sony thing, two trailers that were exactly the same. They were different, but they were the same. And
That's conceptually the exact same thing.
yeah, so here's hoping that it's not 2015's let down, and there's actually something fun you can do. Um, what else did they show? They did announce that Street Fighter, Ultra Street Fighter 4 is coming to PS4, and Street Fighter 5 is exclusive. I'm
Console
interested.
exclusive, yeah.
It's console exclusive. It's also coming to PC. I do like the cross-platform play between PC and the
Yeah, that's
PS4.
cool.
I
That is
think they
cool.
really need to do that for a lot of games because
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense anymore that you can't do that with how powerful the systems have come. But I'm a little excuse me, I'm a little, I don't know what's in it for Capcom outside of a big fat check from Sony, because
That'd be it.
Street Fighter 4 sold really well, but it sold really well on two consoles. Actually,
Yeah.
on multiple consoles, on the Xbox 360, PS3, Vita, and other places, it sold really well before even coming to PC. So to narrow all that down to one console, and it's not, even though fighting games are coming back into the limelight, they aren't as big as say a shooter. So
Mm.
for you to narrow it down to one console and then say like we partnered with Sony to make the best Street Fighter possible. What is it that outside of a check is it for you that they're going to be gaining by just having it on the PS4?
Mm.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
missing because that was
Especially because like
baffling.
yeah, especially considering like from the little bit the one gameplay that they showed of that looked a heck of a lot like Street Fighter 4 to me.
I was confused at one point when I
Like,
saw when they leaked the trailer beforehand,
mm,
and I was like, wait, is that just Street Fighter Ultra or a new Street Fighter Ultra that I'm
yeah,
not, but
yeah,
apparently that's 5.
yeah. That was actually it was quite disappointing to see it actually, just because it looked so much like Street Fighter 4, and normally like all the numbered ones have had much more unique art styles.
Yeah,
So for this to just be kind of like a prettier Street Fighter 4, like from the outset at least looking at it, it was a little disappointing. And my guess, and this is something I tweet as well, is I think that in 2016 there will be Street Fighter 5 Ultra, and that will be on Xbox One.
yeah,
So my guess is the exclusivity is Street Fighter 5, but we know Capcom every year generally releases like a extra edition or some kind of extra edition for their Street Fighter games, and I'm very curious to see if the exclusivity is attached to those as well, because my guess is it isn't.
right. I was thinking of something like along the lines of like a bundle, kind of like how Mass Effect the first one was only on the 360, but then when they did the bundle that had all three, that also
Mm,
went to Sony. And I was thinking
mm,
like if they did something like that, they could possibly do it because this is the first time I've heard. You don't really hear the word never when they say these things. They usually say it's an exclusive coming only to. They'll say only, but then they'll back it up later and say like timed or whatever. But in this case,
mm,
they're like it will never come to the other system, which makes me think
yeah,
that either Sony is publishing it or they're providing some type of incentive.
yeah.
Um,
So my guess is that it actually is basically more of a timed exclusive, but only because Capcom is going to release a new version of it with a slightly different name next year, with a
right.
few more characters and extra maps. Like it's gonna be a few more arenas. Like they do that all the time. Like that's what Capcom has always done with its Street Fighter games. It will continue doing it. It'll do that, and that won't be an exclusive anymore. So Sony effectively what they've really done is get a timed exclusive. That's my hunch about all this.
So you think it's like a getting back at Microsoft for the whole Tomb Raider exclusive? Not
It,
getting back at them, but kind of like
Yeah, there's like,
we got one
I
too.
mean, look, they always just go blow for blow, And the
Right.
thing is, exclusives are getting tougher to do. More important, let me phrase that: third-party exclusives are
Right.
becoming
Right.
rarer and rarer, and I think that's a good thing. Like I like that. I think it's good, and I good. I want to see less third-party exclusives. I want to see games everywhere, you know. Um, but yeah, we'll see about that one. I mean, the Mass Effect was a little bit different because keep in mind, Mass Effect 1 was actually published by Microsoft Studios.
Right.
And that's because at that time EA didn't own BioWare.
Right. And so they were able to kind of work that out with a bundle later.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of third party exclusives, I don't like, and they did have a segment on this, which is I I almost got up and walked away. Was when they were talking about Destiny and they were talking about how with the DLC they're gonna have I guess the exclusive weapons, and it's not
Mm.
a big deal, but at the same time I'm like I don't like the fact that we could pay for the same DLC and you get more DLC for a particular
Yeah.
console. I don't, and it's the same price. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because it's very
Yeah.
slippery. It's very slippery because right now we see it's just weapons or it's just one extra strike or whatever, and we're like, okay, it's not a big deal. But I think it opens the door for more of that type of stuff, and I really don't like it. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of it.
No, see, and I disagree because right now I think right now with Destiny it is a big deal. Like that's the you know what? If it was just weapons and if it's just weapons and armor and stuff, cool. That's not a big deal. But missions, actual content in a game that already honestly has quite limited content, uh, and its DLC is not like the DLC is releasing a ton of content. Like there's no new planet. It's all mostly on the moon. It is 3 new story missions. One like if you're an Xbox, it is 3 new story missions, 1 new strike, and the raid, and
Right.
I think 3 multiplayer maps. If you got the PlayStation, you get an extra strike mission, and I think 1 or 2 extra multiplayer, PvP Crucible maps. So, like, it's not like it's a massive amount of content that's coming with this expansion pack anyway. So the fact that they're giving Xbox players even less, and as you said, for the same price, I think that's a pretty big deal. I think it was a I think it was a dumb decision for Bungie to agree to that deal.
I
So
agree.
I mean, and grant, especially with the length of because the exclusivity is for like a year. That's a long damn time. Like in a year's time, I don't want to play the stupid strikes for this DLC because I'm going to be so beyond level that it's not. I'm never going to need to go back and play those strikes on
Exactly.
Xbox.
The other DLC will be out before
Yeah,
you could play them.
it's meant to be fall 2015 is when you get that when the exclusivity stops. By fall 2015, they might even have a third expansion pack that they haven't even announced yet coming out.
Yeah, I just it's getting worse with by the game,
Mm,
and I think that and Microsoft has their own they have their stuff too, but I think every time I see a Sony event, at least as of late, it's always been exclusive content, and
yeah,
I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that we pay the same amount of money. I don't care about skins and stuff like that, but
exactly. Yeah,
but
cosmetic stuff.
missions.
I think that's the right way to go. Make it
Right,
cosmetic
right.
stuff. That's fine. That's fun. But don't do content. Don't gate off actual gameplay content from players. I think that's a real douchey thing to do.
Yeah, that's not cool, and not everyone can afford
It
every
doesn't
every
respect the
system.
fans.
Yeah, it
It,
doesn't.
that's the
It
it,
doesn't.
it's kind of a spit in the face of some of your fans. You're basically any of your fans who aren't PlayStation, you're spitting in their face.
Yeah, and it'd be different if it's like, okay, well, the Sony guys have to pay more for their copy, and so they get more. All right, fine, that's weird, but fine. But
But even that, but then that would be spitting in the Sony player's face.
right, you know what I mean? It's like what?
Yeah.
At least in that sense, it makes sense because you're not going to charge everyone the same and then pull content from the other people. You know what I mean? At least there's it's fairness within so we have two base copies of the game and then you have the extra stuff. You're able to purchase more extra stuff for this particular console.
Hmm.
Okay, that's a little bit more doable than we both buy a season pass but you get tons of to be honest, a strike for Destiny is a ton more content because, like you said, it's not a lot of content to begin with. So that's it's a big thing to have an extra strike right now.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
help
And the
you level
strikes are
up.
also some of the best parts of that game.
Yeah, like outside of the raid, the best part. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. Like those are the more fun PvE parts of that game are the strike missions.
yeah. So I'm not, and I forget the other game that they were talking about that has some Sony content that's only on Sony, but those are some of the things that they show during the show that kind of roll my eyes because I'm like, this is just I'm not a fan of this at all. And as a gamer, I want to play everything. I want to play on everything. I'm not, Xbox or Sony, but financially, I can't buy everything right away. Um, in terms of both consoles, and I understand that Uncharted is going to be Sony and Halo is going to be Microsoft. Totally, totally get that. But
Mm.
a third party game that's coming to both, yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah, yeah, no, very uncool. Anyway, we should look at wrapping this up soon. So I just want to go. So my favorite part of the PlayStation experience actually had nothing to do with any of the games they were showing. It was like a 1 to 2 minute video where they use Little Big Planet to basically show off and represent all these older games, but to just kind of show the history of PlayStation games.
That was incredible.
Like that was, yeah, I just had such a smile on my face. Even my wife loved it. Like when they showed a Little Big Planet Journey, like she started getting kind of excited. She was like, "Oh, that's so cute," because she loved Journey.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so like that was so cool. That was just that just brought so many smiles to my face.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it's that that it's so flexible. The Little Big Planet system,
Mm.
um, to be able to do that, and because they've done similar things in other shows, but to go back and see those old games, Little Big Planet style, was really
Yeah,
cool. It was really cool.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was just so adorable.
Yeah, I think
Even like The Last of Us.
yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was great. I love that whole part. That whole segment. That whole part was so good. It was not. You know what? I actually, it's funny enough. The actual presentation side of it, for the most part, I enjoyed the PlayStation experience way more than the awards because it just felt a lot more natural. Like even the main host for the PlayStation that guy was great. Like he was just so like he's clearly a head corporate Sony guy, but he was just a guy. He was very much just a guy and a gamer like all of us.
Which is
That was
interesting.
great.
Which is interesting because I was looking at the other people that were announcing their games and whatnot, and they would come up, they would come on stage, and they would kind of like look down a lot, and I guess they're looking at the teleprompter, but they
Yeah.
would like stall or like they would speak in such a way that made them seem unsure of themselves. Like, wait, am I
Mm.
supposed to be saying this right now? Like, are we gonna show the game or not? Or it was really odd for some of them, coming up on stage. But yeah, like he was great, and the I forget his name, the darn it, David Jaffe. I
Yeah,
believe.
David Jaffe. Yep.
Yeah, he was hilarious when he got up there and
Mm.
showed his was it Drawn to Death or Death Draw or
Yeah.
whatever.
Drawn to Death, I think.
Drawn to Death. Like that was really cool. Like that whole segment was really cool.
Mm. Yeah, no, I agree. Also, I actually tweeted about this with the guy from Rocksteady who came talk about Batman Arkham Knight. Like, why was he yelling at me?
Yeah, I was.
That guy was.
That was
Yeah,
awkward. It was
it
really
was.
awkward.
He was just way too excited, and he was just screaming at the audience. Basically, I was like, dude, just calm down, man. Take, take, take.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
just
made it worse
calm
was the fact
down.
that he went after one of the monotone guys.
Yeah, yeah. He just came out way too hard. And from my perspective, it's like, look, man, it is a Sunday morning. You just need to chill. Okay, I can't tolerate this right now. You need to calm down. Um, what's even say, you know what? I don't get what the heck Warner Brothers marketing is doing with this Batman game, because like the last few times they've shown it, it's just looked bad. Like it's not to say that the game has looked bad, but just what they've shown was bad. Like just really badly cut like the trailer, and I use that in really loose terms that they showed today was so horribly cut. It was just all these different little scenes and parts just spliced together.
That's how
It
I
was
felt
really
about.
badly done.
That's how I felt about and I agree. I think that's what I felt about the order. Like it looks so generic.
No,
Like
that game just looks bad. No, the order just looks bad. Like that's a different thing. Like that it wasn't cut together badly. That's just like that's all they've got to work with.
we'll see.
I
Like
feel.
they showed the trailer. So at the award show, they showed the trailer, like a story trailer for the order, but they didn't
Yeah.
show it fully. They cut and like so there was like a part where they're
Which
getting.
also was an awkwardly cut Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Actually,
it
the
was
award
cut really
ceremony
weird,
was
really
was
weird.
cut really badly. You're right.
Yeah, so then so then this one we had a segment. They showed the order, and it was like the beginning of the trailer, and then they cut that too and went to the demo. And I'm like, why are you even showing this if you're not going to show the whole trailer? Um,
Yeah.
and then the demo, it looks like a regular third person shooter, nothing special. And then the knife fight with the monster was like, I don't know if that was cinematic or that was actual gameplay. I don't know what that was, but it was awkward.
So it was gameplay, but they didn't show how it plays. So that's the thing. So I don't know how that plays. I was watching that in my head. I was like, oh, I hope that's not going to be a quick time.
It looks
Like
like it.
it looks like my guess, and again purely guessing here. I don't think it's going to be a quick time, or at least there might be some quick time elements to it. But I think it's going to play like Infinity Blade.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, that iPhone game where you just sort of swipe to do that, because the way the characters were kind of placed on the screen, it felt like an Infinity Blade fight, like
I agree.
a very well animated one, and really cool. But yeah, it felt. So my guess is control wise, it will probably control kind of like that. At least that's my hope, because that's while that's not amazing, at the very least, it's a hell of a lot better than a QuickTime event fight. Again, I found that whole concept weird because like at E3 they showed the beginning of that segment
Right.
when the guy so it's like, okay, so you meet this guy, he's turning into a werewolf in front of you. You were holding a gun, by the way. I should include this part. You don't attempt to shoot him with the gun while he is transforming and therefore kind of defenseless. You wait for him to finish transforming. Then you start to run away from him. We see that you will hide from him for a little bit. Then he will find you. And again, instead of shooting at him,
It's a
you
knife
try
fight.
to hit him with your gun and then get into a knife fight with the werewolf.
God.
Why didn't you like you could have just pulled the knife out from the start if you were if you're prepared to get into a knife fight with a werewolf, just start with that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I
Right,
don't.
just start.
It's just confusing, and I wish they just wouldn't show it. Like, just don't. If you're not gonna show anything
Yeah, just
grand,
don't.
don't show it. It looks
Just
pretty. Like it looks pretty, but gameplay wise, it just looks. It looks really
yeah, just
silly.
yeah, yeah. It was funny. They keep showing Order 1886, but they won't show the Last Guardian.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I don't even know what to
like
say about that game.
just ice Order 1886, man. Because yeah, that I mean, look, the thing is, I've been saying since the first time I saw gameplay of that game, which I think was E3, that I was like, that game just looks boring to play.
Yeah,
It looks so boring. It looks like the most generic, basic third-person shooter that doesn't look like much fun.
yeah, I agree. Totally agree. I think that my favorite part was also a very concerning part was when they showed Until Dawn. The reason why I think Until Dawn is awesome is because I think it's a great idea to have like a type of like a serial killer B movie, horror game where
Mm.
you're trying to get away from serial killers and like your character can die and like you have to take over another character.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the game Obscure. It's obscure game that's survival horror, and it's similar like that. It's very B film type of thing,
Mm.
and I was like really excited and like but then at the same time I'm like QuickTime stuff. It looks like something that what is it, the Quantum
Well, that's what I was saying. I was thinking the David Cage, who's the guy from
yes.
Quant. Do you think he was watching and like he just turned to his wife? He's like, "Honey, they're stealing my shtick."
I don't know. I mean, it's Sony, so probably I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they kind of got that from them. But
Mm.
it's so I was like, it looked cool, and hopefully it's
It's
not
totally a
just
Quantic Dream game.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hopefully it's not totally just QuickTime events. One thing though that he showed on stage, what I think he shouldn't have shown, was he said that the game was paused so that the audience can kind of like yell out where to go.
Mm.
And I'm like, if you can pause it, that kills the tension. Like, if I'm trying to get away from a killer and they're like hide or run, and I only have a few seconds to decide, if I pause the game and then decide, there's no point in. Why would I be afraid? Like, all right, pause. I can take all the time I want to think about this decision before I doing it. You know what I mean? Like, at least during
Mm.
the action segments, you shouldn't be able to pause. I think.
Yes. So you could pause between decisions when it's playing out the video
Yeah,
part.
that's kind of, and I hope that the whole game isn't kind of like
Mm.
an interactive video because I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I don't think a lot of the Quantum, their games are actual games personally. So I really don't want to be I don't want it to be an interactive movie, but the
Mm.
concept is so cool to me that I'm still like I still want to see more of it.
Yeah. See, I think it's tons of potential there. Like, yeah, it's not a. Yeah, I see that. That is much more how the concept of video games, how interactive entertainment. That is 100% interactive entertainment, but not a traditional sort of video game,
Right.
which I'm fine with because personally, I don't like the word video game. I think we should find a new word. Um, but that's a whole other conversation. Um, but yeah, but I thought it looked kind of cool. I guess. So the thing of those like those interactive entertainment games, like all the Quantic Dream games and This Until Dawn, is they're very dependent on the movie being good.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. And like yeah, from what I saw there, I was like, well, I mean, that's a B movie horror movies, and normally B movie horror movies aren't amazing. You
There
know,
it
there
depends
are
on
good ones, but
yeah.
by the numbers though, there's a lot of bad ones compared to the good ones.
And you have to think about like so character decision coming into play and whether or not
Also, yeah, there could be like five good movies in there and 20 bad movies in that one
exactly.
game, depending on the decisions you make. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I'm
Uh,
like I'm really nervous about it, and I don't want it to be like a heavy rain experience.
mm,
Um, I really don't, but
yeah.
it's just such a cool premise that I'm like I just want to check it out.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. See, I would love to see Tim Schafer make a game like that, and it's a comedy.
Yeah, it's like
So
a Shaun
you're
of the Dead
kind
type
of
of thing.
yeah, so it's just where you'll be making decisions, and you won't know exactly the punchline that's going to come out of your decision, but it'll always be something funny.
That would be
You'd be
interesting.
guessing maybe the scenario that's going to play out, but you don't know exactly what the characters are going to say or do. So there'll be. It would be incredibly difficult to do, but I think that's one of the few ways you could actually do a 100% comedy video game that would actually be kind of cool.
And extend to a decent amount of replay value, being that there's so many characters that
Yeah.
that could die and or change the story, and it's not
Mhm.
really hinged upon one character. At least it doesn't seem to be that way. Kind of
Mm-mm.
like The Walking Dead. Like you don't want Lee or Clementine to die. Whereas this is like I don't really care if Bob dies. I kind of want him to live, but if he dies in a hilarious way, then whatever. you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
um,
exactly.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
guess we would
yeah,
close the show now. We've been I think we're like
yeah,
at an hour 9 or hour 10 now. Um, but yeah, it's so far the two shows have been decent. There was a lot of stuff coming out for 2015 seems to be the year of that we're getting back to like a lot of really 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 good games.
yeah.
Legend of
I
Zelda,
hope so.
Legend of Zelda. I forgot to say that looked awesome.
Oh yeah.
Looked very very great on the award show. That was an
Yeah,
awesome way to end the show with Nintendo.
yeah. The video showing it was kind of weird.
Yeah,
Um,
but they're
just
weird,
those two
so
having a chat, but then it was like really badly voice acted translators going over it, trying to have the same fluid, natural conversation. Even though you can tell they're not talking to each other, they're clearly just recording their translations in separate voice recordings.
right.
So it's kind of weird. It felt very awkward and unnatural because it just wasn't natural conversation. Although we're clearly watching a natural conversation occurring in front of us in a different language. Um, but the game looked very good. Yeah.
Yeah, the game looks like uh, I've never seen Zelda look that awesome. Just I can't wait. Um, so yeah, that I think that's it. If there's anything that you guys want to talk to us about or want us to talk about on the next show, definitely let us know on Twitter, Facebook, wherever it is you follow us. Definitely let us know. There's a lot of news coming out this week, from the award show to the Sony thing that's going on until Sunday. Well, your Monday, my Sunday. Um,
Yep.
a lot of new information for the new games coming out, and we're going to be talking about it, everywhere. So just let us know what you want us, what you want us to discuss, and we'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, definitely. Any games you want us to be looking at or and talking about, or any events or industry stuff, whatever, just let us know. You can follow me at on Twitter at Aylon133, which is AYLON 133.
Yep, and you can follow me on Twitter at KennyUFG. It's pretty self-explanatory how to spell that.
Yep.
Definitely.
Unlike Jeff,
Yeah,
which can go a few ways.
yeah. Which is funny because I've heard people pronounce it differently. So I was like, I don't know how to pronounce his name. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, before I figured out that that's one way to spell Jeff, and I saw that, I was like, is that Geoff?
yeah, exactly. The English is not phonetic all the time, and
No.
it's mind blowing. But yeah, definitely check out UnitedFrontGaming.com. We're going to be posting that there, as well as Facebook, UnitedFrontGaming.com, and on YouTube. So you can watch me play Lego Batman or whatever it is I'm playing while we discuss this. And yeah, definitely check out NZ Gamer.
Yep, nzgamer.com. Yeah,
Yes.
please do. That's where I write. Also, we should have mentioned this at the beginning, but we've also started using a new recording software. So if there is any audio issues, apologies. We will hopefully get that better next time.
Yes, we're trying different things to make it make our show better. So eventually, hopefully not by episode 10, things will be crisp and you can understand us, and yeah, it'll be awesome. So I think that's it for our show. Again,
Yep.
follow us on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere, and we'll be back to you in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day.